Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Islamo-Nazi cockroaches, IS, their third name in the last 2 months, they're holding 3 American hostages. They're holding a woman hostage. It's a woman who went to Syria to do good deeds, humanitarian apparently, and they abducted her. She's a neuroscientist, Afia Siddiqui, graduate of MIT. Actually, I may have this. Let me make sure. That's not correct. That is the bad woman who we are holding in prison. Let's see here. I'm trying to get the name, and I can't find the name. And in any event, they're holding a woman hostage. And they're saying she's 26 years old, and they want $6.6 million, and the release of the woman I just told you about, who a jury convicted of in 2010 of trying to kill U.S. officials 2 years before. And they're threatening to kill the 26-year-old American if they don't get what they want. And she's just the latest. Don't you think it's well past time, ladies and gentlemen, that the president speak to the nation in front of a joint session of Congress and seek a declaration of war? A declaration of war doesn't have to be, I declare war, Congress, we declare war. It can be Congress passing, as they did for Bush, joint resolution, stating their position and funding it. Constitution doesn't say you have to use these words, but Obama won't do it. And yet, when it came to the so-called red line with respect to chemicals in Syria, Obama said I should get Congress's input and Congress's approval for any actions that I would take. And now he won't get Congress's approval, and he won't even talk to the American people at a joint session of Congress. I mean, is this not important? Yes, it's important. I heard one doofus on MSLSD, a pretend conservative. He went on about, these conservatives are attacking Obama. He's doing what they want him to do. No, he's not. We want him to rally the nation. We want him to explain everything. We want him to get Congress involved. And he won't do any of these things. That's what a leader would do. That's what a leader should do. And I'm going to tell you something else. Obama is the commander-in-chief. That the Constitution says about a president. I would like to know how this commander-in-chief was caught off guard with respect to these cockroaches. I would like to know how this commander-in-chief didn't know that they were building a massive army, that he didn't know they were raising enormous amount of funds, that he didn't know even before the debacle with the Iraqi army, that they were accumulating advanced and significant numbers of weapons. How is it possible that our commander-in-chief didn't know these things with what the NSA is up to, the CIA is up to, the DIA is up to, the Defense Department's up to, with this massive governmental mechanism for monitoring and securing and protecting this country? I'm very serious about this. This has to be one of the biggest national security / defense screw-ups in modern American history. Calls them the JV. All of a sudden they showed up. They didn't show up all of a sudden. As I pointed out the other day, I think there's something to what Dick Cheney said. I think this guy doesn't read his briefing materials, or if he's in these briefings, they're so quick, they really don't have time to give him the information he needs, which is what I was explaining the other day. To say the president's available 24/7 on the golf course or wherever is not the same thing as him sitting down, looking face to face at a number of experts, briefing him on important subjects where he can, have uninterrupted exchanges with them without all the distraction of, what's tea time? They're not just cheap shots. These are substantive problems. So how is it that this man, with access to all this information, all these agencies and departments, wasn't aware of what was coming? Or if he was aware of it, how is it he didn't do anything about it? He always seems to be 6 months behind the curve. So now this woman's being threatened. And yet, who does he save his anger for? Who does he save his anger for? Well, Republicans and conservatives, no doubt about that. Who else? The Israelis. The Israelis. I have a piece here from the Jerusalem Post. There's something about Obama and the Israelis, his deep hate for the Jews in Israel. Not domestic Jews, not liberal Jews who fund his campaigns, who make movies, who slobber all over him, who sing for him at his concerts. Not the self-hating Jews, and I say this as a Jew. No, the Jews in Israel who actually stand for something and defend themselves against evil. In the Jerusalem Post, Palestinians are taking notice of the effectiveness of extremist violent resistance movements against the governments of Israel and Iraq, said former U.S. Special Envoy for Israel-Palestinian negotiations, Martin Indyk, in an interview published this week. Speaking extensively on U.S. relations with Jerusalem since the end of the latest round of peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians last April, and throughout Operation Protective Edge, a candid Indyk said, at times, U.S. President Obama has become, quote, enraged, unquote, at the Israeli government, both for its actions and for its treatment of his chief diplomat, John Kerry, a.k.a. Mashed Potato Face. Now, let us remember, ladies and gentlemen, Obama was enraged at Netanyahu the first time he stepped his foot into the United States when Obama was president. Remember how Obama treated Netanyahu at the White House? It was remarkable and unconscionable. What Obama wants is one of these left-wing governments in Israel that will surrender territory, that will do all these things that they shouldn't do. But let me ask you a question. When a friend of yours is facing a true threat, their very life is at stake, why would you stab them in the back? And that's the way I see Obama with Israel and Netanyahu. And I have another question. It's uncomfortable for some, but I've asked it before. What is with the liberal Jews in this country that they can support a man like this? It just amazes me. They'll contribute money to Israel and Israeli causes, and then they contribute vast sums of money for Obama's election. I don't get it. Well, I kind of do. Norman Podhoretz wrote an entire book on it, and I had him on my program. These are typically secularists, and for them their real religion is secularism.